Hello guys, so I wanted to make a quick video, and I did have questions kind of about this, not a lot, but I just kind of thought it would be interesting to talk about. And this is kind of things that happened during anorexia, specifically talking about things like hair loss, nails, things like that. And I did lose, people asked me if I lost hair, and I did. My hair got really thin, and my mom remembers it. I didn't see it at the time. I thought my hair was normal. I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but my hair was really dry, really thin, and if I go back to the pictures, I can see that. It looked really unhealthy. It looked terrible. It was kind of like hay, like hay, and it just looked pretty bad, and I don't remember a lot of it, and it's more like my mom remembers better, and people that saw me back then remember better than I do, because I always thought, like, oh, my hair was fine, that's what I kind of thought, and it was not true. My nails were really brittle, even though, like, my nails are shorter now, but only because I do jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu and playing the guitar, so they are shorter now, but they were a lot brittle, and they would peel off like layers. They were very thin in the fat, not like short, but they were thin, like kind of like paperish. And I think I even remember that I could bend my nail like kind of like a piece of paper, a little bit, not that much, but it was really brittle. And so my nails were pretty brittle. I think my hair was worse than my nails though. And another thing that I don't know if it's like effect from anorexia or eating disorders, but I think it was, and I think that my toes were purple. My toes were purple, and kind of like, I think what happened was I had a bad like blood circulation, because I've heard other people have this as well during anorexia. But I'm just not sure if, like, I think that I'm not the only one, and I think, because I heard other people have this too. Yeah, so my toes, I remember I would go to the shower and I looked down and my toes were really, like, just purple, like really dark purple. And I didn't, no one really noticed it, because when I was in Russia, obviously it's cold, so I would wear socks all the time, boots, shoes. We didn't wear flip-flops a lot, so I think it was covered a lot, and even I didn't notice it, but then I noticed it, but I kind of just like, oh, I'm probably cold. Now that I look back at it, I remember they were really dark, and so were my fingers. Like, my tips of my fingers were purplish, and very dry skin. I remember it cracked all the time, and it was even worse because I didn't want to use lotion. As you know, if you guys might go through the same thing, but often people with anorexia might be afraid to use lotion because they're afraid that calories go in their skin. So that's kind of interesting, because a lot of people think, anorexia is just fear of food, but it's not really just it is fear of food, but I think it's more afraid to gain weight than just a fear of food, because lotion is not food. You don't put it in your mouth, but you could be, if you're anorexic, you could be afraid to put it on because you're afraid calories will go through the skin and into you or make you fat or whatever. But I was afraid of doing that, so my skin was even more dry than ever. And because when we lived there before anorexia, my skin was dry there because of the weather, because it's windy and cold and stuff. But it was so much worse when I was anorexic. It was actually so cracked that it would bleed sometimes. Like, it would be bleeding, and like skin would like come off, and it's gross and stuff, but like it did happen, and it was really disgusting. And so my skin was really dry. I think that's the main things that were caused by me. Oh, another one is, some of you know this, but there's like, when you are anorexic, your hair grows more on your body, just because your body's trying to keep you warm and from cold. And I don't think that actually happened to me. Maybe a little bit on my arms, but that's it, because the hair on my head definitely fell. But on my arms maybe just grew a bit thicker, just because, like a little bit, not that much. I don't remember. Like I said, it's kind of hard to tell, because when you're anorexic, it's a slow process, and it happens slowly. It's not like one day you're like, like this, and then the next day you're all like dried up. And like, I was kind of dried up. Like, how they show, for example, like in a desert, like there's like this tree that's all like shriveled up and dry and just dead, and then there's like one in the jungle or whatever, I know that's a bad comparison, but you know what I mean, like if it's dry or a drought, there's like a shriveled up tree versus when there's a lot of rain and stuff and there's like a perfect, beautiful tree. And that's kind of how it was, but it happened really slowly, and it was just a slow process. Like even a tree, when it like gets to that stage of dried and shriveled up, it happens slowly. Like first the leaves start like turning brownish, and then they start falling, and then the trees kind of like, and that's kind of what happened to me. And that's a good way to kind of like explain it, I guess. And yeah, those are some of the main things that happened to my body during anorexia. There's a lot of things that happened in my mind, but that's a different video. So yeah, I don't know if that was just helpful information, and if you guys have this, realize this as signs and try to get help, try to get better, because it's not fun. Like anorexia, you know, you might think like, oh, you're just skinny and oh, you know, you get to wear whatever you want, but no, it's not like that. You get all these other problems, worse hair, worse nails. It's just a whole other level, you know, like, and you don't think about it. You're cold all the time and all this stuff, but you know, so it's not worth it for sure. And I hope you don't ever go through it, or if you do, I hope you recover and get better. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.